What's going on, guys? So we are out here at the fifth wheel, and I got a couple accessories here that I'll show you before we kick this video off. I just got in a 50 amp 15-foot cord and a 50 amp 10-foot cord, and these are both extension cables. So these will add to the 25-foot cable that came with the RV. Now, why do I have extension cables? Because sometimes you stay at RV parks where you're just a little bit too far from the pedestal and the cord that you have might not reach. And because the cord on our unit is on the very back, right above the bumper, there have been 2 times so far that it's just a little bit difficult to reach the pedestal, which they placed closer to the front of the actual campground, which is kind of interesting. Anyways, I have a 10-foot and a 15-foot. Now, what you do not want to do is extend your 25-foot cable with a 10-foot cable and a 15-foot cable. You don't want to add all 3 together. Basically, what you want to keep in mind is that you have amperage and current going through these cables, and you don't want to lengthen the cable any more than you need to accomplish the task that you're trying to accomplish. And with these 2 cables, if I'm at an RV park and I'm 8 feet from the actual pedestal with my cable, well, I'll add the 10-foot cable. If I'm 12 feet from the pedestal, I'll add the 15-foot cable. But I'm never going to use both of them back to back, and that's something you want to keep in mind. These aren't terribly expensive, but they can definitely come in really handy, especially depending on the RV park you're at and how far away you are from the pedestal. Just keep in mind, you do not want to daisy chain 3 of them. And you really don't want to run like a 25-foot and a 25-foot back-to-back. So you don't want to connect like a 25-foot extension. You want to keep your extensions as short as possible. Anytime you're running a large amount of power, or even a small amount of power, one thing you want to do is avoid excessive lengths of wire, because you can end up actually burning up your cable or overheating it if you run too much cable, or if your cable's too small for the distance and the amount of current you're trying to run through it. Anyways, I'll put a link in the description of this video if you guys might need an extension cable. Alright, so the point of today's video is regrettably a mistake I have to fix, and I kind of knew this. I just for some reason didn't pay attention to my own logic whenever I was doing this. And it took the LCI technician, Matt, who came out and did a bunch of welding on the back of the RV to point out a flaw that I had done when I was doing something I thought would be preventative maintenance on the RV. Now, you guys know that LCI or Lippert produces the vast majority of the slide-out systems for RVs. There's a few other brands that make them, but by and large, Schwintech, as well as a few other systems, are all produced by LCI, including the through frame system that we have on our specific camper. Now, one thing that Matt, the technician from LCI, observed when he came out is that I had done a big no-no. And it's not a big no-no, it's just a no-no. I actually sprayed the arms of our rack and pinion slide with white lithium grease. Now, it's not that it's a bad thing in terms of, it being a lubricant and performing its task. The problem is it gets dirty very easily, and it can kind of clump up and get dirt buildup on some of those tracks, and you don't want that to happen. The last thing you want is to have rocks and stones and little things that might have collected, especially as you travel down the road and they're slung up into the mechanism. You don't want those binding up the system. I'll put a link to the one he recommends in the description of this video. But he said, one thing you might want to do whenever you get a chance, there's no huge rush, but it's something you definitely want to do, is to try to scrape most of that stuff off of the rails. So that's what I'm going to attempt to do now. I purchased a little putty knife set on Amazon, and I'm just going to try to scrape as much of that off as possible. Then I'll come back with a brush and I'll try to get the teeth there at the bottom. But yeah, that's pretty much the project today. So I'm going to get to scraping. The good thing is there's plenty of room under the slide. The other good thing is this putty knife works extremely well taking it off. Check that out. All the way to the end. Don't even need to really look at the other side. Didn't really have much on that side. Okay, so I got this one scrubbed down. Probably do a little bit more, but for the most part it's pretty much all off. Just gotta get to the other ones. Here's all the residue. Let's get it cleaned off. Okay, got the other side of this slide. Check this one out, nice and clean. Got to do one more and then we're all done. Last one, just got to get this one looking clean and we'll be done. There we go, all done. Not too difficult. Basically, I just took a rag with some rubbing alcohol on it, rubbed each one of these things down, got them nice and clean, got all the grease off of them. Next thing I need to do is go back with some dry lubricant, spray it down, and get them all conditioned back into the way they should have been in the first place. And again, guys, it's avoiding the white lithium grease or anything that can clump up with dirt, because you don't want debris getting in these tracks, which can cause them to bind whenever they get inside and possibly mess up on you. And just in case you're wondering, I ran and grabbed it. This is the CRC Power Lube High Performance Lubricant with PTFE. This is what he recommends using on the slide out system. Now keep in mind, if you have a Schwintek slide system, and this is specific for newer models. Now I don't know when they made the change, but I do know that the current model of Schwintek slide, which is the one that has the little track right here, you put no lubricant on. This is directly from the LCI technician's mouth and from Lippert's actual instruction manual if you read it. The older systems used a steel cog that actually extended and retracted the slide, and you did need to use a lubricant on the track. But the newer systems use, I believe, like a nylon or some type of a plastic slide or a polymer slide that actually does not require any lubricant. And if you lubricate that track, it can actually cause it to build up with grease and grime and stuff that can cause the track to start wearing, and you can damage the motor. So you do not want to lubricate the newer models of Schwintek slide out systems. And that again is directly from the folks at LCI, and it's in the current LCI instruction manual for the Schwintek slide out system. Anyways, I am going to go ahead and apply this CRC Power Lube with PTFE onto the arms there, replacing the white lithium grease that I removed. So this is the stuff you want to use, and it's supposed to work really good. It was actually handed to me directly by the LCI technician. So the best way to apply it would be to run it up and down the rails. There we go, guys. All nice and lubricated. This is the stuff to get. Guys, if you haven't had a chance, please take a moment, subscribe to my channel, give me a thumbs up, and we'll talk to you again very soon.